80-20 rule. This rule governs the entire phenomena of any system in the world. Before I explain this, let me tell you how this rule was framed initially. Vilfredo Pareto, he was an Italian, and this story dates back to 1860. Pareto made an interesting observation while he was harvesting peas in his garden. On counting the number of peas in each pea pod, he found that 80% of the peas came only from 20% of the pea pod. You can also try this. Say for instance, you have 10 pea pods and you get 50 peas in total out of the 10 pea pods. Now you might think each pea pod contained 5 peas, so in total 10 pea pods gives 50 peas. But in reality, that's not true. Pareto found that out of those 10 pea pods, only 2 pea pods had 40 peas in them totally, and the remaining 8 pea pods combined had 10 peas in them. So these 2 pea pods are far more valuable than the remaining 8 pea pods. Vilfredo was an economist, so he compared this pattern and found that 20% of the people in Italy owned 80% of the whole land. And these 20% of the people were the wealthiest. The remaining 80% of the population owned only 20% of the land. Later, it was discovered that it is more or less similar in any country. And this pattern still holds true today. The 80-20 pattern is just everywhere. 80% of tax money comes from about 20% of the society. 80% of the internet traffic belongs to 20% of the websites, and 80% of mobile phone calls comes from 20% of the population. 80% of complaints come from 20% of customers, and also 80% of sales comes from 20% of products or services. To maximize efficiency in business or work, one should focus on this 20% of activity, because 80% of success comes from 20% of your activity. Once you realize that 80% of your outcome comes only from 20% of your time and effort you spend on them, the importance of prioritizing becomes obvious. So, in this case, the first step is to identify which activity comprises the vital 20%. But 80-20 principle does not suggest that 80% can be simply ignored, but it just requires less focus, less time than the other 20%. You cannot completely ignore it. After all, only a complete whole can function just the way it was intended. There are many ways in which you can put the Pareto Principle to good use, and let me explain with a short story. There was a blogger who spent a lot of time and designed, created, and launched her website. She spent most of her time and wrote several interesting real-life blogs, and people around her really appreciated for her unique blogs. But later she found, though her blogs received some visibility, it generated the least amount of traffic compared to the other bloggers in the market. She thought, I spent a great deal of my time, technical ability, and writing expertise to build this blog, but for all of this expended energy, I am getting very little traffic to the site. She understood that even if her content is spectacular, it is worth nothing if no one reads it. She realized that her marketing of the blog was a greater problem than the blog itself. So then she applied this 80-20 rule and assigned her 80% of the activities like creating the blogs, even writing content. She assigned it to others and focused and worked on the marketing, which was 20% of the whole work. But only this 20% of her work brought her a huge traffic to the website. But of course, the other 80% cannot be ignored because that was the actual content which the viewers will actually see when they reach the website. So this clearly explains that you need to focus more and work harder on the 20% of the efforts which will produce the 100% of the income. But the other 80% of the work can just be assigned to save your time for the actual 20%, which is going to give you the real outcome. So how do you really do this in your life? And that is why you must plan your day every day. Since 20% of your effort amounts to 80% of the effect of your work, you should consider which activities comprise the vital few you need to focus on. And to maximize your efficiency, you must first identify the 20% and work on them first. But be mindful, you should not neglect the other 80%. Move on to doing them once you clear the first 20%. The same applies to your business or work or education or even in your personal life where you spend your quality time with the loved ones.